Queens Community Board 1, Land Use and Zoning Committee, this October meeting. We have one item on the agenda today, so we'll jump into that. So we have an application, right, by Grace Lutheran Church to amend the city map to eliminate, discontinue, and close a portion of 32nd Street between Ditmars Boulevard and 21st Avenue. They've come to us in the past, so I think today will kind of be a continuation of that. But if you guys want to go ahead, share your screens, give your presentation, then we'll take questions.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Andres. As I should start. My name is Ben Stark. I'm a land use attorney from Hirsch and Singer Epstein. I'm joined by my colleague Andrew Ulbrich, also a land use attorney. We're here on behalf of the applicant, Grace Lutheran Evangelical Church, in particular with respect to their Astoria Lutheran School and the playground that we're going to talk about in a little bit. As was mentioned a moment ago, this is not our first time before this committee. We were here probably 11 months ago. I think it was like the first week of November last year, showing how, despite what you'll see, not a complicated land use project. I'm near certain that this committee has considered much more complicated land use actions, but despite it not being particularly complicated, demappings take a long time. We've been at this for a couple of years, and we're finally certified into ULURP. It just shows how many different agencies and stakeholders that we have to run this request by, despite it being a fairly minimal ask. So, what is this application? This application, as mentioned, would see the demapping of a portion of unbuilt 32nd Street. So although the phrasing demapped and closed is like part of the verbiage of these applications, there's no closure of a street here. The street it doesn't exist as far as it's not open to the public. It's not constructed as a public right of way. It exists solely as a paper street on the city map, and crosses over a few pieces of private property, most notably a fairly good-sized chunk of Grace Lutheran's open playground area used by its Astoria Lutheran School. Other aspects of 32nd Street or other parts of 32nd Street are open to traffic. It's used as a dead end street for residents of a series of single family homes that face onto this sort of alleyway. But it terminates at a dead end just beyond the property line, beyond Grace Lutheran's property line. So, what is Grace Lutheran? Grace Lutheran is a local house of worship that some of you may be familiar with. They've been in this neighborhood for a very, very long time. By our estimates and speaking with our client, this church was built in the 30s at some point, but our understanding is that their ownership and their presence in the neighborhood goes back even further than that. The school has seen, or the facility has seen a number of different enlargements and iterations over the years, but has generally been in its current configuration since the 60s, maybe into the early 70s. Some additional changes were made, but the street itself has likely took shape really in the early part of the 20th century, and for whatever reason did not extend through and to 21st Avenue. It terminated at the church and at that dead end there that you see in the upper left-hand corner, and has remained so for many decades. We've through this process had the sort of fun, the joy of looking back at really old satellite images, from the 20s. Wait, that's the wrong way of saying it. They weren't satellites; they must have been taken from balloons or something. But aerial shots that were produced over the years, and sort of interesting to see the evolution of this alleyway from what was likely a dirt path, maybe even a farmer's path, to it eventually being a, a dead end sort of cul-de-sac for these single family homes that face to the northwest on 32nd. This presents a condition that Grace Lutheran would like to ensure doesn't become a problem. And that's the core of why they're going through this multi-year, very expensive process, is that this is Grace Lutheran's home. Grace Lutheran has no intention of going anywhere. And the specter of, in a sense, a change in priority, perhaps at the municipal level, if the Department of Transportation decides wakes up on the wrong side of the bed one day and decides that they want to build this out, it would, for all practical purposes, mean the end of their school. This is the thing that makes their school marketable to the wider community. It's what will continue to make it marketable as the years go by and more people come into the neighborhood. You already see new development up there on 31st Street. We'll talk about even more development that's ongoing in this area in just a little bit. And so this exercise amounts to a sort of clearing of title, putting to bed any prospect of their loss of their very, very important playground area. Um, the area to be demapped, it's fairly obvious. It's an extension of 32nd Street. Small areas of other adjacent property would be touched by this. A 5 foot or so strip of land that is in the rear area of the corner lot on 21st Ave and 31st is also impacted by this demapping. This is a property that is currently under development, and in which is being facilitated by a transaction that Grace Lutheran had entered into with a predecessor in interest to that property, where Grace Lutheran sold a small bit of air rights to that site, and in the process agreed to an easement that would forever restrict Grace Lutheran from building within an area that is coterminous with the demapped area. It's somewhat coincidental that in order for the developing party there on the corner to avail itself of these east-facing windows, they needed a 30-foot light and air easement from Grace, which generally reflects the bounds of the demapped area. And what does this mean in practice? It means that even though Grace Lutheran is demapping this street, they still can never build anything there. There will never be anything built there because of the easement that they agreed to with the developing party, who's now going to be building windows that face out over the playground. Still, the expense of going through this process is worthwhile to Grace Lutheran to ensure that the playground isn't lost to decisions by DOT and decisions by the city to finish out this street to 21st Ave. Not that we have any expectation that was on the table. Part of our whole process was communicating with DOT at length about this, with the FDNY, with Con Ed, with National Grid, and other interested parties, and it became clear through that engagement that there is no at least immediate simmering desire on the part of DOT to build out this street. But for a institution that's been around since before any of us were born and who intends to be around long after all of us are gone, we have to think in a sort of multi-generational context. So maybe DOT didn't have a plan today, but maybe DOT in 2050 would. So let's put that to rest and ensure that this playground can remain a real community space and valuable contribution to their otherwise successful educational program. I have some of the materials that we had to prepare here as part of the application. You can see again the demapped area. Here's a nice view of at least what is ongoing currently. This picture was taken earlier today, showing the demapped area, but also showing again that there is active construction going on here. The project that I spoke about earlier is slowly coming out of the ground. You see its sort of sister project that went up. That's the Rowan. That was a number of years ago, but soon there will be a similar sized building just beyond the boundary of the playground area, with similar south-facing windows out over the playground. This is now looking back towards 21st. And we're here to answer any questions that you have. We know this is a quirky application. I will certainly say, as a land use attorney, it's one of the only applications I've ever represented where no development was proposed. But I think that kind of makes it has made it an interesting and fun project to be part of, and we hope that we have the support of the board. I mean, it's crucial. This is your community. This school is what we believe and understand to be a real a part of this community, and we hope that you'll do your part to helping keeping it as successful of an institution as it can be. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have any questions from any board members? Jerry?
Yeah, I have one question. Hi, Ben. How you doing?
Hi, Jerry. Jerry and I talked earlier today on a different matter.
Right.
I hadn't realized you were on this call.
Yeah. So Ben, I looked at Zola, and I noticed a couple of things. First of all, the church owns lot 161 and 61. So you
Yeah.
must have given the light and air easement to the people on the corner 25. Is that correct?
So, great question. Why does 161 exist at all? This goes back to the transaction with the neighbor. At the time that transaction was done, which saw the sale of a small amount of air rights and the granting of the light and air easement, there was gets really wonky. Back then, 161 didn't exist. The Grace Lutheran's property was all identified as 61. There was a concern among the buyer party, the property to the at the top of the screen there, that they could not create a zoning lot that would cross a paper street. So the initial thought as this transaction played out was they would demand it of Grace that we create a separate tax parcel. In this case, it became 161, so that we would sell the air rights only from the strip, because the line down the demarcating line between 161 and 61 is the center line of the street. So they got a read with the DOB that if they merged just 161 to the center line with their parcel to I guess that's the west, that would constitute a viable zoning lot where then we could do an air rights transfer. The slight comedy here in it all is that they then got a sort of reconsideration of this with the DOB and invariably merged everything together into one full zoning lot. We weren't, it didn't bother us one way or the other. We were focused on completing the transaction, and it was sort of at the developer's risk or the buyer's risk how they wanted to proceed. So in a sense, the delineation of 161 kind of became irrelevant in the long run, given that they created a full merge zoning lot with 61 and 161. And for transactional reasons, we said fine.
So question really
the
is,
last thing I'll
finish
say is
that, Ben. Does church own 161?
yes, yeah.
Okay, good. Second question is lot 58. That lot, just like the church, extends into 32nd Street. So are you demapping the parcel of 58 as well?
We are demapping. I just have to pull up my map again. We are not demapping the portion that includes 58. And in fact, that if you look at the picture where here we go, 58's backyard is now I've got it sort of turned around here, but
I'm looking
58,
at the tax map, that's why.
yeah,
I
let me
can
get it.
see the 58 goes into the street.
It's a little bit of a I think the tax map doesn't accurately reflect that it is built out. I think that's what is going on there.
And you
Even
can see
though
it down on the bottom there,
no, I know. And what I'm saying is
right
even
there.
though that they're showing that in yellow, that actually if you look at a survey, this is 58 right here. These are these are cars. So
But that doesn't mean it doesn't own the street.
oh no, I know, and I agree. So the 58 owns the street, and the street is built. So they whereas the city had taken title to the other parts of 32nd, they did not take title for whatever coincidental reason to this little chunk here. So even though it shows up as this chunk here, I don't know if my cursor is seen on the screen, that is still built out as part of the turnaround. As yeah, you can see here, here's the lot 58 house, and even though they own this little bit of roadway, it appears to be built out.
Mhm. So if we agree to demap 161 and the portion of 61 that's in the bed of the map street, the portion that's in 58 in the bed of the map street would remain?
It I don't think that what I'm saying is I don't think the tax map is dispositive as to whether or not it is built street. It's only speaking to the ownership condition. So if the city agrees through the consultation of this board to demap the portion, where is it here, then it doesn't affect any physical condition, is how I would put it. It doesn't, if the city wanted to proceed with acquiring title to that little bit that's on lot 58, it probably has grounds to do so. It's built out. It's operating as a street. Arguably, the city has a easement by implication to use it as such. I mean, it's mapped as street. We're not proposing to change that condition, and we can't, as part of our application, change the title condition as to whether 58 owns that or not. That's on the law department and corp counsel whether they want to take it.
Okay. It's just not as clean as, there's other
But
people involved, that's the problem. So if I'm the owner of that 58, I say, well, you're demapping that, why not demap me too?
I would argue that that's not as clean, because then we would have to change the physical condition. Here we're proposing to demap something that was never built out. If we extended this to demap that chunk that the lot 58 homeowner has, we would also be proposing to change, where the bollards are, where the turnaround is. A huge part of the agency's agnosticism to this application is that the physical condition doesn't change. So if we did more with this application, if we demapped here, we would have to change the physical condition. This whole sort of line would move. Yeah.
You mentioned a couple of times turnaround. I don't
Not,
see that diagrammatically.
yeah, it's fair. There's not, I'm sort of over speaking. It's not really a turnaround. It's a dead end. Yeah, there is not really a cul-de-sac here by
So
any
will
means.
DOT ask for some kind of, uh, something to help that situation
They
for
did not.
emergency vehicles? Have they
They
ever?
did. They did not, and their position was sort of what I had said earlier, that because what we proposed doesn't change the physical condition, that they feel like that it's not, they don't have grounds to demand of us, you know, giving away some of our dirt in a sense to a turnaround. Their take is the condition is what it is today. Or is this application in a sense making the condition more challenging for cars? No. Is it making it more challenging for the fire trucks? No. It's keeping it the same, just lifting the potential for the extension to be
Right. I have one
done.
more question, last one. Is there a sewer easement going through that portion of the land?
We
Bed of the
there is
street?
there is an there's not a sewer easement, no, but there is an existing combined sewer within one segment of this area, and DEP is not sure if it's in use or not. So part of our agreement with them is that we're going to have to scope this at some point to see if there's any connections, old connections that are made from any of these surrounding buildings. But it's unclear whether it's an active aspect of it or if it's sort of lost to the winds of time.
Mhm. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Liz.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I have a couple of questions. I'm a bit confused by what's going on here. I need something visual. And usually when there is a zoning lot merger, there is something that is filed. Has that become part of the application to city planning for the demapping?
I mean, we certainly have had to identify in the application materials what the applicant zoning lot is. We did not include the formal instruments that created that merged zoning lot. It's something that we'd be happy to share with the committee. They're public record. The
Mhm.
the merged zoning lot, just to bring it back, is the lot 61 and 161 that you see on the screen, and then it continues and grabs the property here that is currently shown as like a big warehouse building. It includes that one. It's the warehouse building, and
Correct.
then
Correct. It's become part of the new development that's going up. Is that
mhm.
right?
That's a fair,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Now, so yes, I think when you come before the community board, when this goes to public hearing, I think that would be helpful to illustrate what is being talked about. Um, the other thing, I have a couple other issues. Let's see. So, and that would be, do you have a copy of the revised city map, what it's going to look like with it? Well, you're not calling it a turnaround, but I'd like to see how the end of that street is going to be treated.
Well, it's not going to be treated any different than it is today. So it will be what the existing condition is, that will be the condition. And we're happy to get some more materials for you to see, but it's as you see there. That's going to be that's the condition
Okay.
now and as proposed.
Okay. Now, does the new development intend to have garage access at that point? For
That's a great
for
question.
the second building?
Yeah, it's a great question. That's something we can look into and get back to you.
That's very important. So, and also, have you outreach to the residents on that block, especially the last four of them right by, where the new development is going to be occurring?
I'll speak to Grace's leadership. I know that they've been talking to neighbors on and off, whether they've gone door. I'm not so sure, but let me get back to you there.
Okay. Let me see. Yeah, the access to I'm going to call it the new Rowan because I don't know what they're calling it, but I know it's the same owner. So, vehicular access to the new development.
I think they flipped it. I think it was the same owner for a while.
Oh,
It's just something to look into. I think it got flipped, but
okay.
yeah.
It's probably they did. And the zoning lot, so the zoning lot map, I'd like to see the city map also, and, the issue about access to be spoken about at the community board hearing.
Understood.
Thank you.
Good. Any more questions from any other committee member? Yeah, Amy?
Hi, thanks, Andres. I just want to confirm that the use of the playground is just for the church only, right? That's what I seem to remember.
Yes, that's correct. The school that the church operates.
Okay, thank you. And not open to the public.
Not to my knowledge. That's something we can confirm.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much for the presentation. And we'll see you later this month at the full board meeting for a presentation as well.
Excellent. What day of the week do you guys typically have your full board? Just curious.
Yeah, so the meeting this month, I believe, is the October 21st. It's a Tuesday at 6:30. And that one's in person at Astoria World Manor.
I've got that in my calendar. Right. Okay. Great.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yep.
I really appreciate it. And we really hope that we can earn your support. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Take care. Okay. All right. So that was our presentation for the day. Let's move now into the business portion of the meeting. So I guess Liz, I guess we'll start off with the approval of the minutes.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So I sent them out a little while ago, a couple hours ago. And the only adjustment there is I just need to make some small adjustments in terms of I had inadvertently left out some information about the like the ULURP and BSA number. So I'm just gonna add in that information. So, but besides that, are there any objections or changes anybody would like to the minutes for both the June 2025 and September 2025 committee meetings? All right. So, okay, great. So we'll add those in. Great. So do we have any old or new business to discuss?
Yes, I have something. I just wanted to bring the committee up to date on what is happening with respect to One Long Island City. One LIC. I received an email from Board 2, and they're trying to meet with Councilwoman Wan to discuss, to really talk about making changes to what city planning approved. I don't remember what the date was that they approved it, but it went through as they had proposed. And what Board 2 is interested in doing and talking to the councilwoman about is sort of, they want modifications that would lower the heights of some of the buildings that they're talking about. You recall along Queens Plaza North, they were talking about 750 feet, et cetera. And there's no cap to that. So anything that they do is bonused. Anything they do for the community is bonused and goes on top of that. So there's the issue about capping the building height. But they're also talking about tying in the extra bonuses to providing community benefits that are identified by the community. Because once this goes through, anything that happens over there, anything that's developed is as of right. And there's really no community input. So these are the things that they have other issues that are very specific to Board 2 about the IBZ, what's going on there. But they're also calling for those Queens Plaza North buildings to be limited to perhaps maybe R9, not R10, lowering that and tying that to adding bonuses for community benefits. They are also, there was something else. Let's see. Oh, yeah. The proposed development, they were in our area, I forgot the names of the parcels, but it's right next to the storage facility, 21st Street, those vacant blocks over there. They're requesting a reduction in the height of those buildings over there so that it could lessen the impact on Queensbridge with their, their open area and their recently installed solar panels on all of the homes. So they're requesting, they would like to see that reduced to an R8 from an R10. This is something that, is very much what we talked about also. So her meeting, their CB2 is requested that the councilwoman come to the board meeting, their regular board meeting, which is this Thursday. I think, what is that, the 9th? So it's going to be discussed there. So I just wanted to let you know that, there's still, I don't want to say haggling, but still trying to emphasize what is good for the community without cutting into the increase in affordability or affordable housing units being constructed. So that's, the latest I have. I don't know if Colin wants to make any comment.
Yeah, nothing to add at this point. The vote will be happening probably around early November or around then.
City plan, the council's vote? Okay.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm done. I don't have any other issues.
Thomas, you have a question?
Yes. But Florence had her hand up before mine, so I would.
I'm sorry, Florence. I didn't see you.
Liz, did you say the impact on Queensbridge R8 to an R10? I was taking notes.
No, the other way around. From
R10 to an R8?
to R8.
Thank you. That's all I needed.
Great.
So also I've been reading, Elizabeth, to kind of follow up and ask a further question. While we were discussing this and voting on this, the council member, council member Julie Wan really was a proponent of the program and really was interested in being able to do her job and do her negotiations, which she seemingly has launched into full force. She's really making a lot of asks that I've noticed that have been published. Do we have any update on her current positions? And because I believe that the community board has already approved these LIC1, both our community board and community board 2, and then it will go on to the city council, but she's making some very, very specific asks relevant to affordable housing, etc. Do we have any information on that?
I don't, Thomas. I don't have it. But I can find out about it. I will find out about it.
Can we ask Colin? Maybe he
I'm
knows.
sorry.
Can we ask Colin if he knows?
Yeah, Thomas, the way the neighborhood plans usually work is that once we've entered this city council review stage, sorry, some background noise. There's concurrently, some negotiations between City Hall. Sorry about that. Between City Hall and the council member to reach, a point of agreement, which, comes with those investments that have been reflected both by the council member and the community board and the community at large. So I don't have anything to share at this time, but that's something a document that they are working towards before the council member, makes her vote along with the council.
Okay, thank you.
Great. I don't have anything else. Liz, I think you're good. Any final thoughts before yes, Amy.
Hi, I just want to remind everybody we need to get capital and expense budget item requests in. So if there's anything that you all can, think about and send me by the end of the week, I like to try and bring everything together, sooner than later. So if there are any thoughts, do we want to open that up for discussion tonight?
Yeah. No, go ahead, Liz.
Yeah, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I've got all kinds of things on my screen because I don't have paper. I'm only working from my computer, my laptop. So what we had agreed to last month was the possibility of including a Northern Boulevard corridor study, mentioning the sanitation garage, moving that project along, hiring building inspectors, which was new to us in terms of, we didn't know that they were part of land use and zoning committee. And we had a discussion about the Leicester Creek restoration and access, but I'm not sure that we're in a position right now that we know what we want to do and how we want to pursue this. So those are the land use and zoning contributions to it's probably the expense budget. It really is all we deal with.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, if I can add along, we had a discussion with Jackie Ibarra.
Okay.
Why don't you talking?
Sanitation is capital, Liz. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're right.
Is
Okay.
capital.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that.
But relevant to the Northern Boulevard corridor where the car dealerships are. Did you cover that as well, Elizabeth, in your recitation of what we had previously discussed regarding the study there? Sorry, I missed it.
I don't recall. I mean, I made a point. I remember making a point that it is something that has to be considered as part of any plan to redevelop Northern Boulevard because of the number of jobs and because of the industry itself. And, you know, it has to become part of it, at least that, you know, as a planner, I would not, this is not an insignificant business we're talking about for the city. So that's why I'm saying that I don't know if we have to start looking at what we're going to do, approaching two things: the Leicester Creek and also the Northern Boulevard corridor. But there's been we have to gather the information. There's so much information out there. You know, the partnership did a little bit of a study of Northern Boulevard, and then there were other things that happened. So I don't know what resources we have to jump off from.
Didn't Councilwoman also do a study for Northern
Yes.
Boulevard?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So,
But I don't believe it was completed, right?
Colin,
and-
would Colin know?
I'm sorry, Amy, what did you say?
I wonder if Colin would know what the Councilwoman's corridor study. And my question is, like, do we want this to go from Queens Plaza up through Broadway, or like, do we have a
Well, the end of our board area,
okay?
which was
Oh, board
the
area.
BQE. Yeah.
Okay, to BQE. Okay.
That would probably be Northern and 69th Street, I'm assuming.
Okay. Thank you.
Is that east of the BQE? I'm not sure. We don't have to define.
Just west of the BQE. So 69th and Northern, and then once you cross that, you're by the Wendy's and Chick-fil-A, and that's kind of borderline there.
End of the borderline.
Right? Yeah.
I'll look it up, but I think, you know, having the sort of the length of the corridor.
Mm-hmm.
And my question to Colin is whether or not you knew what happened to the study that the councilwoman did for, I think she did a Northern Boulevard study some time ago.
Yes, I believe the council member did. If you want to look up the report, it's called the Heart of the District, I believe, or Heart of District 26. Yeah, Florence is nodding her head.
Yes.
And it focuses on Northern and Roosevelt. So it's a little bit mixed on its focus, but that report is out somewhere in the ether.
Okay.
You know, I think what we may have to do is have a small group to, you know, talk about the steps that we have to take in order to get something like this funded. You know, we have the option, not only having city planning do it through the expense budget, but we also may have the option of doing a consultant, you know, hiring a consultant like we did for One Long Island City. But that's to be discussed, you know, that's one of the options. So, but since we're dealing with the capital and expense budget, we can formulate some kind of description that, you know, to put in there, to make them, you know, to let them start thinking in terms of what to do, because that is a strip that has such potential with, you know, transit access and vehicular access. And, you know, it's just, it you know, and it's growing
Going through an
too.
identity crisis, Liz.
I didn't hear you.
It's going through an identity crisis at the moment, Northern Boulevard.
Yeah.
So it could
Yeah.
use a little love and care.
Anyway, okay. So we'll be in touch, I guess, about with Amy, with you to, you know, for the submission, what to put down.
Yeah. And I see it from the sorry for the minutes that I missed last month. So thanks. I'll start to put this into the spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you, Florence. I see that you put the study, the Julie Wan Heart of the District study in the chat. And I believe, Florence, you also had a recommendation where we should put this, the community board request regarding the study of the Northern Boulevard.
That's up to the committee. The new way this year is that the capital expense give rankings. The expense gets 1 through 5 and the capital gets 1 through 5. So the committee would look at their 4 choices here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Capital, because you only have 1, it would obviously be 1. And then the expense, you would have 1, 2, 3 in any order that your committee chose.
Thank you. As you can see, I was very convinced by Jackie Ibarra's presentation. I always worry about, I have a gym that I go to on Northern Boulevard, and I walk past all of those spots, and crossing the street is difficult. And also there are a lot of strange turns and cars coming in and out. So when I saw that that school was being built, I thought we should really begin to look at this to ensure that that corridor not only is safe, but that it serves the community.
Mhm.
To add to that, by the school, the traffic congestion has significantly worsened. So, like I said, the Northern Boulevard, that as a boulevard, as a corridor, as an economic hub, and it's going through an identity crisis. It could really use care in so many areas in order for it to make it livable for residents and visitors alike.
No, agreed. I have one question for Florence. Florence, is there some reason why the captions, the transcript is not working? I don't have an option to.
No, I didn't know. I wish you said something sooner. Hurry Studios, can you check the transcript to see why it's not on? It's normally on. It has to be on for the minutes. Hurry Studios? I believe it can be put on afterwards if it doesn't go on now from my other gentleman. So just bear with me. And if so, I'll let you know tomorrow.
Okay. But this is not the first time
That's
happened. Yeah, this has happened before, and I've had to go to another source.
Yeah, the Block Party. I use Block Party regularly. I like Block Party better, honestly. I've told all the DMs about Block Party.
Okay, so you know what? You'll take care
if you
of it.
see it, let me know in the beginning, and I'll make sure it's fixed.
Okay.
Okay, good. Any other items for discussion? All right. Liz, any final words before we wrap up for the day?
No, we'll see you in a week or so.
Yep. All right. We'll see everybody in, I think, two weeks from now, right? In 2 Tuesdays. Yep.
If not before.
Thank you.
Great.
Okay.
Take care.
Good night, everyone.
All right. Good night.
No.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Hurry Studios, we can close the meeting, and I'll follow up with you about the closed